Welcome to the Explainer. Look, today we really need to talk about the absolute biggest headache for anyone using Midjourney right now, achieving commercial-grade 2K resolution without completely burning through your expensive subscription limits. If you've ever generated an absolute masterpiece only to zoom in and realize it's just a blurry, pixelated mess, well, you are in exactly the right place.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover why 2K actually matters, bust the great prompting myth, break down the 3 mechanical paths to true resolution, and wrap up by building your ultimate professional 2K workflow. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Why 2K resolution matters, or as I like to call it, the professional imperative. We're kicking things off with some cold, hard facts about the modern digital art market and why that default 1024 pixel Midjourney output is fundamentally holding you back.
Check this out. The real-world demand is shifting, and it's shifting fast. According to a recent Reuters report on generative AI image quality standards, a massive 73% of professional designers now demand a minimum of 2048 by 2048 resolution for their commercial projects. Basically, almost 3/4 of the market. If you're handing over anything less than true 2K, you are literally leaving money on the table. The industry has totally moved on from treating AI art as a fun little experiment. They demand it be production-ready right out of the gate.
And ignoring this shift? Well, it's going to hit your wallet. The Wall Street Journal actually reported that the average user burns through 3.2 times more of their premium fast hours just blindly generating trial and error fixes. I mean, you might as well just set your GPU hours on fire at that point. People are effectively paying triple their subscription value in wasted processing time, all because they just don't understand how to reliably generate 2K images. Ouch.
All right, moving to Section 2, the great prompting myth, unmasking the 8K illusion. It is time to expose the #1 mistake that, get this, nearly 64% of users are making when they try to force those higher pixel counts out of the generator.
Okay, prepare for a total paradigm shift here. You know those massive paragraphs of resolution keywords people use? Things like 8K, Ultra HD, or highly detailed? Yeah, the AI's core resolution engine completely ignores them. The idea that a text prompt controls output size is a total myth. The technical reality is that utilizing the correct structural parameters, like setting your aspect ratio or quality right at the end of your prompt, that is what actually shapes your canvas.
And there's real science backing this up. Dr. Aisha Patel over at MIT explains it perfectly. She notes that the architecture of diffusion models inherently separates semantic content generation from resolution synthesis. To put that in plain English, AI models actually train in these tiny 512 to 1024 pixel chunks. So your prompt paints the actual content, like a beautiful mountain range or a cyberpunk city, but the parameters are what dictate the format.
Looking at how this evolved really puts things into perspective. Way back in July 2022, you were lucky to squeeze out 1664 pixels. We didn't even see the first 2K capabilities until November 2022, and of course, 4x upscaling was recently released. This timeline proves that while the tech is advancing at lightning speed, default resolution caps are still there for a reason. They have to balance out massive server loads. So no, Midjourney isn't just holding out on you. They are literally managing millions of complex calculations every single second.
Which brings us to Section 3, 3 paths to 2K, the mechanics of pixels. Now that we've got the technical limitations out of the way, let's explore the actual mechanical tools you can use to multiply those pixels efficiently.
You essentially have 3 distinct mechanical paths to get to true 2K resolution. First up is aspect ratio, which alters your initial grid size and honestly costs very little computationally. It's super efficient. Second is upscaling, which actively multiplies pixels post-generation, but that comes with a higher computational cost. And third, we have zoom out, which expands the canvas to add contextual pixels around your image. Knowing the cost and the best use case for each of these means you can pick the absolute most efficient method for your specific project without wasting time.
But, and this is a big but, bigger is definitely not always better. Look at these fidelity retention rates from the Stanford AI Lab. A 2x upscale holds on to a super impressive 94% fidelity to your original image. But if you push for that massive 4x upscale, your image fidelity drops all the way down to 76%. This perfectly illustrates why precision upscaling is just fundamentally better than blindly hitting the maximum button. If you go too big, you literally start losing the exact fine details you generated the image for in the first place.
And that leads us to a huge interface upgrade. Elena Voss from Midjourney's own documentation team shared the user confusion actually plummeted by 40% when they simply started labeling upscales as subtle versus creative. Remember the old generic upscale button that just left you totally guessing? Well, now you're in the driver's seat. You choose subtle if you want strict, pixel-perfect fidelity to your original, or you go with creative if you're open to some artistic reinterpretation and maybe a few quirky AI hallucinations.
All right, Section 4, the professional 2K workflow, practical application. Let's take all this theory and build an optimized, actionable framework you can use the very next time you open Midjourney.
Here are the 4 steps that perfectly synthesize everything we've been talking about today. Step 1, plan your requirements. You need to know exactly how many pixels you actually need before you type a single word. Step 2, choose your aspect ratio in that initial prompt so your base canvas is as close to 2K as possible right from the jump. Step 3, select your upscale method, whether that's subtle, creative, or maybe a zoom out. And step 4, absolutely crucial, verify those output dimensions in the file properties before you ever send it off to a client.
If you take away just one thing today, let it be this golden rule. Focus your prompts strictly on content, not on technical specifications. Leave your text prompts for the fun stuff, the artistic direction, the lighting, the mood, the vibe. Let the dash parameters do the heavy lifting for the resolution mechanics. Seriously, stop begging the AI for 8K resolution in the text prompt and start commanding the parameters to actually do it for you. It'll save you so many wasted generations.
Because at the end of the day, it really all comes down to your fast hours. This is the premium processing time you're paying hard-earned money for, and it gets eaten up so fast when you do unnecessary multi-pass extreme upscales. Protecting those fast hours is the ultimate superpower of this structured workflow. It actively shields you from those hidden subscription costs and the absolute nightmare of constantly needing to buy extra GPU time, which, let's face it, is a trap a lot of disorganized users fall into.
I want to leave you with this pretty provocative thought from AI ethics researchers over at Stanford. Every single time you run a 4x upscale, it consumes the exact same amount of energy as generating 16 standard images. 16! So you really have to ask yourself, are your AI prompt workflows actually sustainable? Just something to chew on before you blindly upscale that next batch. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Go use your new 2K knowledge wisely, save those fast hours, and keep creating.